Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Shraddha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamitam. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatari Shatarthi. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Raita Chandra Jaya Gauravaktavinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Raita Chandra Jaya Gauravaktavinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Raita Chandra Jaya Gauravaktavinda. Prabhu, so we're starting from verse
82, Mate.
82. I thought she said
oh, let me see. Oh, you're right. 108, right? 108.
108. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Text 108. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full of unlimited qualities and whose different potencies bring about agreement and disagreement between disputants. Thus, the illusionary energy again and again covers the self-realization of both disputants. 109. In almost all cases, whatever learned Brahmanas speak becomes accepted. Nothing is impossible for one who takes shelter of my illusionary energy and speaks under her influence. 110. After hearing this from Gopinathacharya, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, first, go to the place where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is staying and invite him here with his associates. Ask him on my account. 111. Take Jagannath Prasad and give it to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. After that, come back here and teach me well. 112. Gopinathacharya was the brother-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Therefore, their relationship was very sweet and intimate. Under the circumstances, Gopinathacharya taught him by sometimes blaspheming him, sometimes praising him, and sometimes laughing at him. This has been going on for some time. 113. Srila Mukundadatta felt very satisfied to hear the conclusive statements of Gopinathacharya, but he became very unhappy and angry to hear the statements put forward by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. 114. According to the instructions of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Gopinathacharya went to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and invited him on the Bhattacharya's behalf. 115. The Bhattacharya's statements were discussed before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gopinathacharya and Mukundadatta disapproved of the Bhattacharya's statements because they caused mental pain. 116. After hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, do not speak like that. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has shown great affection and mercy towards me. 117. Out of paternal affection for me, he wants to protect me and see that I follow the regulative principles of a sannyasi. What faults is there in this? 118. The next morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya together visited the temple of Lord Jagannath. Both of them were in a very pleasant mood. 119. When they entered the temple, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya offered Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a seat while he himself sat down on the floor out of due respect for a sannyasi. 120. He then began to instruct Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on Vedanta philosophy, and out of affection and devotion, he spoke to the Lord as follows. 121. The Bhattacharya said, hearing Vedanta philosophy is a sannyasi's main business. Sorry. Therefore, without hesitation, you should study Vedanta philosophy, hearing it without cessation from a superior person. 122. Lord Chaitanya replied, "You are very merciful to me, and therefore I think it is my duty to obey your order." 123. Thus, for 7 days continually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu listened to the Vedanta philosophy expounded by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not say anything and did not indicate whether it was right or wrong. He simply sat there and listened to the Bhattacharya. 124. On the 8th day, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "You have been listening to Vedanta philosophy from me continually for 7 days." 125. You have simply been listening fixed in your silence. Since you do not say whether you think it is right or wrong, I cannot know whether you are actually understanding Vedanta philosophy or not. 126. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "I am a fool, and consequently I do not study the Vedanta Sutra. I am just trying to hear it from you because you have ordered me." 127. Only for the sake of executing the duties of the renounced order of sannyasi do I listen. Unfortunately, I cannot in the least understand the meaning you are presenting. 128. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya replied, "I accept that you do not understand. Yet, even one who does not understand inquires about the subject matter." 129. You are hearing again and again, yet you keep silent. I cannot understand what is actually within your mind. 130. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then revealed his mind, saying, "I can understand the meaning of each sutra very clearly, but your explanations have simply agitated my mind." 131. The meaning of aphorism in the Vedanta Sutra contain clear purpose in themselves, but other purpose you presented simply cover the meaning of the sutras like a cloud. 132. You do not explain the direct meaning of the Brahma Sutras. Indeed, it appears that your business is to cover their real meaning. I'll stop here, Prabhu.
Sure, Mother. Thank you. So 108. So the context here was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Jagannath Puri that we discussed in the previous sessions. And then he experienced ecstatic symptoms after seeing Jagannath, Lord Jagannath, Baladev Subhadra. And then he was taken to Sarvam Bhattacharya's home. And then when he was taken to Sarvam Bhattacharya's home, he was Sarvam Bhattacharya saw the ecstatic symptoms of Lord, which is exhibiting Supreme Lord. Then later on, there was a discussion between Gopinath Acharya, who is the brother-in-law of Sarvam Bhattacharya, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya himself. They are discussing. Gopinath Acharya is trying to tell him. Remember previous session, what we discussed was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was just thinking, let me help this sannyasi. Let me make him from second class sannyasi, Bharata Sampradaya, to Saraswata sannyasi, like that he was thinking. So Gopinath Acharya did not like that. He said, he's the Supreme Lord himself. He doesn't need to qualify himself or make himself known like a certain class of sannyasi, like that he was telling. So that is a conversation that's going on. And Gopinath Acharya said, even though Supreme Lord is in your home, you're not able to understand. Somebody can understand the Supreme Lord only if he gets the mercy of Supreme Lord. He cannot understand with dry arguments or speculative philosophy, like that he was telling. So that's the conversation. In the middle of the conversation, we are there. Yeah, let me share my screen again. So we'll continue from there for the next verse. Then Gopinath Acharya is glorifying Krishna, saying that Lord has different potencies, unlimited qualities, and unlimited qualities, and is also saying whose different potencies bring about agreement and disagreement between disciplines. That means if somebody is arguing, it's only because of the Lord's mercy on each of them in that sense. Because Lord's illusory energy is empowering each of them, like that is saying. Does the illusory energy again and again covers the self-relation of both the disputants, both the people who are fighting, like that is described. So now, and he says in almost all cases, whatever learned Brahmanas, that means Brahmanas who read the scriptures properly, speak becomes accepted. Nothing impossible for one. For one who takes shelter of illusory energy and speaks under her influence. The purport is clarifying for us that even the Maya, Krishna's potency, Mahamaya, that illusory energy, even that is also because it's Krishna's energy. Somebody who takes shelter of that Maya also can be powerful when they speak something that like that is describing. But we can avoid the bewildering influence of the illusory energy when we accept the words of Krishna as they are. That is how we can escape the influence of illusory energy is describing. Now 110, after hearing these statements from Gopinath Acharya, Sarvam Bhattacharya said, first go to the place where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is staying and invite him with his associates. Ask him on my account, like that is asking. So it's described. I think one of the purports we'll see. 11. Yeah, in few purports is described that Sarvam Bhattacharya and his brother-in-law Gopinath Acharya had a sweet and intimate relationship. I think in a couple of verses it's coming up. That's why they're speaking like that. He's saying first, forget about water instead of debating. He said, go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and invite him first, like that. So here he's saying, actually, then he said, take Jagannath Prasadam and first give to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. After that, come back here and teach me well. First you do this business and then you can come and teach me. Like that is saying. It's like sarcastic comment basically. So now 112 verse, Gopinath, that is why such exchange happened, they're describing Krishna's Gaura Goswami. Because their relationship is very sweet and intimate, it is between them. That's why sometimes Gopinath Acharya taught him by sometimes blaspheming him, sometimes praising him, sometimes laughing at him also, it seems like that. So that's why they are discussing like this. But however, the other associate who came with Lord Chaitanya from Bengal to Jagannath Puri, Mukundatta, was very happy hearing Gopinath Acharya's conclusive statements, how Supreme Lord Chaitanya is Supreme Lord, like that. But at the same time was very unhappy and angry to hear the statements of Sarma Bhattacharya. What statements that he telling that I'll make him better sannyasi, like that kind of thing. So now as the Sarva Bhattacharya asked him to go give Jagannath Prasadam and invite Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Gopinath Acharya went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's home, it seems, and invited him on Sarva Bhattacharya's home to come, like that. So then when he went to there to invite, actually Gopinath Acharya and Mukundatta were disapproving the statements of Sarva Bhattacharya about Lord Chaitanya because they caused mental pain, like that. That means Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was made aware what is the mood and disposition of Sarvam Bhattacharya towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's an important point in this verse. Because we'll see how Lord Chaitanya himself deals with such people. Now text 116. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what did he say when they disapproved his statements like that? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, do not speak like that. Sarvam Bhattacharya has shown great affection and mercy towards me. So remember Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, one of the things we can learn from it is the Vaishnava etiquette and then right attitude of a Vaishnava. So we can directly hear from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu how he is thinking in a positive outlook about Sarvam Bhattacharya. Even though he said he is not a Supreme Lord, what statements you are saying, like that it said, right? The Sarvam Bhattacharya, so brother-in-law Gopinath Acharya actually proved him with statements of Srimad Bhagavatam and Vishnu Sahasranamam, which is in Mahabharata, like that also. So he's saying, Sarvam Bhattacharya has shown me great affection and mercy toward me. How did he show great affection? Because when he fell down with ecstasy, he brought him home and took care of him like that. That's what he's saying. And then also he showed him a place to stay like that. And see how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is processing that. Out of paternal affection for me. Remember, he's elder in age. Sarvam Bhattacharya was elder in age compared to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was just a young sannyasi, like 24 years. So, out of paternal affection for me, he wants to protect me. And see that I follow the regulative principles of a sannyasi. What fault is there in this? He's just looking after my welfare only, like that he's saying. So this is another thing. When superior, this is one quality we can learn also. When superiors chastise us, we should not become upset at them. We should accept that they're doing it out of affection for me, like that. But that doesn't give us a right. As superiors, we blaspheme, we go unreasonably on our dependents. It doesn't give that right, or it's not a good thing to do. But on our account, if our superiors are chastising us or giving us difficult time, we accept it as with love. They are doing it like that. That's one thing. 117. And then the next morning, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Sarvam Bhattacharya, they both visited Lord Jagannath temple, it seems. And both of them were in a very pleasant mood also. See, interesting. So now, next set of verses till the end of the chapter are talking about a conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvam Bhattacharya, and how Sarvam Bhattacharya became a devotee, like that. That is a significant portion of this chapter. We'll hear more. There's some philosophy also. We'll hear that. So when they both entered the temple, Sarvam Bhattacharya offered a seat to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whereas he sat down without seat. See, this is again the Vaishnava etiquette. Vaishnava etiquette is superior. In this case, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is younger by age, but is superior by ashram. Sarvam Bhattacharya, number one, he was very learned, known as very learned personality in the whole world at the time. Number one. Number two, he was very rich. Very rich means rich enough because he's a chief priest for the chief pandit for the king, like that. And then he had so many thousands of disciples, sannyas disciples, but he was a grihastha. Now he's following the etiquette of respecting a sannyasi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why he's giving a higher seat, like that. So similarly, for a speech master, we make sure speech master sits at a higher seat and we are in a lower plane. Sometimes some services require that we sit in the same level. For example, we're driving in a car, we're giving a ride to speech master, that's okay. But usually we give them that respect, like that. That's what he's doing. So for sannyas, we offer the respect, like that. And he himself sat on the floor out of due respect for sannyasi. The detail is that he gave a seat to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he sat down. The principle is our superior should be in a higher position. That is a principle. It can be handled in different ways, like that. So now 120. So then Sarvam Bhattacharya began to instruct Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on Vedanta philosophy, it seems. And how? Out of affection and devotion. So he spoke with affection and devotion, it seems. Remember, he's made a comment that he liked Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he's beautiful, number one. And he liked the humility of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he's still carrying the name Chaitanya in his name, even after sannyas, becoming sannyas, like that, which is commonly used for brahmacharis, he was telling. So that's why he's out of devotion and affection is speaking Vedanta philosophy, it seems. Many of you know Vedanta philosophy is nothing but after Vyasadeva wrote all the Vedas, he made some conclusive statements in Vedanta Sutra, like Atato Brahma Jignasa, Raso Vaisaha, like that. Short statements are there that summarize the whole Vedic knowledge. I mean, they can be unpacked like that by authorized acharyas. So, like that, he wrote the Vedanta Sutra. Vyasdeva himself. So now the Bhattacharya said, hearing Vedanta Sutra, Vedanta philosophy is the sannyasi's main business. Therefore, without hesitation, you should study Vedanta philosophy. Hearing it without cessation from a superior person, is saying. In this case, superior person means one who has learned Vedanta philosophy nicely. And that Sarvam Bhattacharya thinks is like that. So now purport is clarifying that to us that all spiritual students, advanced spiritual students, especially sannyasis of different sampradayas, read Vedanta Sutra, it seems. Why? To establish their final conclusions concerning Vedic knowledge. That's why they read it, seems. Now, here what is happening is, Sarvam Bhattacharya is not only telling Vedanta Sutra, but is telling along with the commentary of Shankaracharya. That's called Sariraka Bhashya, it seems. So that means Sarvam Bhattacharya, Prabhupada writes in the purport, Sarvam Bhattacharya wanted to convert the Vaishnava sannyasi to a Mayavadi sannyasi. That was his mood and intention. So, and also, Sankara Sampradaya sannyasis, they read Vedanta Sutra regularly, it seems. And they seriously study, it seems, not just reading. And they enjoy also reading Vedanta Sutra. That's why he is trying to tell him. Remember the previous section he told that if you understand Vedanta philosophy properly, you will have the spiritual strength not to get swayed away by sense gratification demands or proclivities or tendencies like that. So that way he can keep the sannyas ashram nicely like that. That was what he was saying earlier. So to that end, he's saying, I'll tell you Vedanta Sutra, and he started. He's about to start now. That's why he's glorifying. Hearing Vedanta philosophy is the sannyasi's main business like that. And Lord Chaitanya replied. So now you see, this Lord Chaitanya considers like an order. Because he's saying you should study Vedanta philosophy. And hearing is the main business for you. Like that he said, right? Lord Chaitanya replied, you are very merciful to me. And therefore, I think it's my duty to obey your order. This will come handy later on when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu responds later on. Basically, he's taking it as an order and he's just obeying it. So now, for 7 days continuously, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu listened to Vedanta philosophy, explained by Sarvam Bhattacharya, along with Charika Bhashya, Shankaracharya's commentary. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not open his mouth, did not indicate like a nod of approval or anything like that. He just kept on listening. He didn't indicate whether something is wrong, something is right, he's understanding, not understanding like that. He's like a stone face, basically, no emotions like that. So he simply sat there and listened to Bhattacharya for 7 continuous days. So then, where is it? Yeah, on the 8th day, yeah, okay, here is it, right? On the 8th day, Sarvam Bhattacharya asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you've been listening to Vedanta philosophy from me continuously for 7 days. You're simply listening fixed in silence. But you do not say whether you think it's right or wrong. That's why I cannot know whether you're actually understanding Vedanta philosophy or not. Because not telling this is right, this is wrong, like that is not telling anything, any feedback. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I'm a fool and consequently I do not study the Vedanta Sutra. So normally, because I'm fool, I don't study Vedanta Sutra. Now, I am trying to hear it from you because you ordered me, he's saying. And why is he saying doing it out of order? Saying only for the sake of executing the duties of the renounced sannyas order, I am listening from you. Unfortunately, I cannot in the least understand the meaning you are presenting. See, that's the point. He understands the meaning of Vedanta Sutra, but not the meaning that he is presenting. That's what he is indicating. So the purport says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presented himself in a humble mood as a just sannyasi by name only, like that. So he's saying himself as a fool. So basically, other point the purport says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted sannyasis to understand Vedanta Sutra, study Vedanta Sutra, but not with Saririka Bhashya, not with the commentary of Shankaracharya. Here is also quoted from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mayavadi Bhashya Sunile Haya Sarvanasha. If one hears the Sararika Bhashya of Shankaracharya, he is doomed. Thus, the sannyasi, a transcendentalist, must read Vedanta Sutra regularly, but he should not read the Sharirika Bhashya. Then what else we can read? The commentary, there's a natural commentary that Vyasdeva wrote after writing Vedanta Sutra, which is Srimad Bhagavatam in itself. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is explaining the Vedanta Sutra. Instead of concise form so much, is likely narration form, story form like that. Srimad Bhagavatam is explaining Vedanta Sutra. So that's the right thing to read and study, not with Shankaracharya commentary is saying. So now, so now to 128 verse. He's saying, Sarvabhacharya replied to that point. I accept that you don't understand. It's okay if you don't understand. But you're not even asking questions. Normally, if somebody doesn't understand, they'll ask inquiries about the subject matter, but you're not even asking questions. You're just hearing again and again and keeping silent. I cannot understand what is actually within your mind. Why are you doing like this, like that instead? In subtle way, he's asking. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu starts to reveal. This whole section goes on to next week, but we're just introducing that section, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's response now. Now he's telling why he's keeping silent and listening for 7 days like that. He's saying, he's revealing his mind saying, I can understand the meaning of each sutra very clearly. That means he already understands Vedanta Sutra. But your explanations are simply agitated my mind. Your explanations are agitating my mind, is saying. Why? He's explaining that next few verses. The meaning of the aphorisms in Vedanta Sutra, each of the principles in Vedanta Sutra is called aphorism. Contain clear purport in themselves. So Vedanta Sutra is clearly, meaning is clearly evident from the sentences. But other purports that you are sharing, you are presenting, are covering the meaning of the Shastra, meaning of the Vedanta Sutras, like a cloud covers the sunshine. So let us say sunlight is in the sky, but then the cloud comes, it covers our vision of the sun, and the light also is covered like that. So he's saying, actual meaning is very clear, Vedanta Sutra. But like the cloud, your purports you are giving, like the cloud, they're covering the meaning, original meaning of the sutra, like that is saying. Why? Text 132. Yeah, Kalpanartha is describing Mukyartha and Kalpanartha are given in the purport verse actually. So he's saying, because where is that 131, right? Okay. So he's saying that is 132. Okay, 132 makes sense. Yeah. Basically, you're not telling the direct meaning of the Brahma Sutras or Vedanta Sutras. Both are same. You're not telling the direct meaning. That meaning here is written as Mukyartha. That is chief. Mukya means chief, like that in Telugu at least. Artha means meaning. The direct meaning is not giving. What kind of meaning is giving? Kalpanartha. That means imaginative meaning is giving. So he is using a speculation to give some meaning for that Brahma Sutras. That's why he's covering the real meaning, like that is saying. So that means he's saying it appears that your business is to cover the real meaning. That is your goal, looks like. That's why you're covering so much. So we'll continue more in the next section. Essentially, what we heard is, in order to benefit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the beginning, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu acted in a humble way before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's one thing we've seen. And he listened to him for some time. In fact, when we're preaching also, we listen to for some, depending upon the circumstance, of course, we listen to the person also a little bit. Then we understand what are their values, what do they want in life, what are they interested in. Then we speak a little bit that meets their needs, but still keeping the spiritual principles intact without disturbing spiritual principles like that. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu listened to him for some time, and then when he only asked, he started to explain. When the opportunity came, he did not shy away after that. He said, you're covering the real meaning of the Vedanta Sutra like that. So that's what we are hearing now. So we'll hear more from him how he actually finally converts Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya into a devotee like that. It's a long chapter. It was a nice section. This is one of the 5 main teachings of the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita scripture basically. That's why it's an important chapter. We'll continue again next session. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let's offer obeisance to all the devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Paritana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you so much, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.